Hi, Michael. Um, 7 o'clock on the dot. Okay, 7:01, and I will wait for 10 minutes so that other people can join and I can start. So I can start talking about cause and effects on this live. Hi. For those that are joining, thank you for joining. In the next 8 minutes, I'm going to be starting. Hi, thank you for joining. Ezekiel. In the next few minutes, I'm going to be starting. I'm going straight to the point because we're going to be leaving here in 30 minutes. It could be more than 30 minutes, maybe like 40 minutes, but it should be around 30 minutes because this girl is tired and hungry. Hi, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. We're going to be talking about cause, effect, and everything in between on this live. I hope that in 30 minutes I'll be able to do justice to the topic. I hope that I will be able to share something interesting that will resonate with you and be relevant to you. Thank you for joining again. Heads up, this is government electricity and it has no control, so it may go on and off anytime. So yeah, but there's a light that is going to shine on my face, so don't worry about it being dark. Just a heads up. I'll keep managing the light until I jackpot. Tonight we are talking about something really important, and is the consequences of our actions as value-driven creatives. I wanted to title this live "Consequences of Our Actions," but it sounded very grim, like consequences of our action. Like it sounded like something bad. So I decided to just talk about, talk about the ripple effects of our actions. So that was why I used cause, effects, and everything in between. And in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to be starting. No waste of time. I'm not here to waste your time. I'm not here to waste my time. And we will go. So I'm so glad that you're here tonight. For those that have joined, I'm so glad that you're here tonight. Please stay till the end. Like I said, I'm not going to waste your time, and I am not going to give a lot of fluff or uninteresting. It's not going to be an uninteresting conversation. It's going to be an interesting one, so stick with me as I go. So in the subsequent lives, I'm just going to be playing the music till I start, because I know my pastor Nde used to do that on his live. He plays music at the beginning while he waits for people to join, and once he's done, he plays music again before he ends the live. Super interesting. So I'm going to do that next. I do that. I just hope I remember. Thank you for joining. Hi. Thank you for joining. In the next 4 minutes, I'm going straight into the conversation. The next 4 minutes, I'm going straight into the conversation. I noticed a few minutes before I went live that I only painted my left hand. This is my left hand, but it's looking like my right. Okay, I only painted my left hand. I don't know how or when I painted it, because this right hand is not painted. The next 4 minutes, we're going to be going up. So just take your time, drink water, plug in your phone, and let's go on this journey together as we talk about the ripple effects of our actions. By the way, yes, I am going to be recommending books each time I go live. So, where can I put this? Okay. I did not take my pen. Ah, jeez, my pen. Every time I go live, I'm going to be recommending a book. So currently, this is the book that I am reading. The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. This is a very great book. 21 laws, so it has 21 chapters, minus introduction and the conclusion. It's straight to the point, direct. So I did one chapter every day because I've been reading so many books. Okay, we have 3 minutes more. I've been reading 3 books together in the month of April. So I read this one first thing in the morning, one chapter. Then after my quiet time, and a little bit of work, I pick up what's this book? The Art of Public Speaking by Dale Carnegie. That's the second book I read. Then the third book, I was reading the book on Upgrade Yourself by a French author. So I was reading the 3 books at the same time, and I finished that French author's book first, and then I finished this one. This book is a very good book. If you want to know how to upgrade your leadership, if you want to be a person who learns to lead people, lead themselves, lead followers, lead leaders, you should get this book. It's very, very, very interesting. 2 minutes more and then we will start. So this is a revised edition, and it was written 10 years after the original one came out. And what John Maxwell said is that he realized that it was necessary. Okay. He realized that it was necessary that he revised the book and he added 2 more laws to it, because he saw that things have really changed from when he wrote it. So if you read it before, chances are you read the old copy, so pick the new copy. 1 minute more and then we'll start. One minute more and then we will start. 1 minute more and then we will start. 1 minute more and then we will start. Okay, let me also talk about The Art of Public Speaking by Dale Carnegie. That's a very good book too. Although it's very technical, it feels like you're reading a Shakespearean novel. No, it feels like you're reading. It's very cumbersome, so you need to break down the grammar, break down the use of words and sentence to understand it. But it's a good book too. If you want to be a public speaker, read it. Yes, 10 minutes, 7:10. Let's start. So, hi everyone who is on this call. My name is Fisayo Patrick, and I am a digital content creator. I'm a social media strategist, and I am an entrepreneur. And I'm an all-round tech girl, and I'm somebody who really believes in leading life with core values. I am not somebody who sits down and let life happen to them. I don't just accept what life gives me. I like to lead my life, right? So I figured out that it's important that I talk to creatives, because I'm a creative myself, and everything I do is about creation, right? Content creation or whatever. That's everything that I do. And I realized that content creators shape culture, because we are the ones that create things that people consume. So I figured it out that, okay, if we are the ones shaping culture, shaping mindset and setting agendas, it is important that we equip ourselves so that we don't create toxic but trendy content. So hence this Instagram live series, which is called Values Based Lifestyle for Content Creators, totally inspired by the Holy Spirit. something that I've never done before, and every last Friday of the month I do it. So with all that said, I'm so glad that you are here. I'm so glad you are here. And for those that will watch later, because some people watch it later on Instagram, and sometimes I share it on YouTube, but I've forgotten to share the last 2-3 ones, but I will also share them. So you can come back and watch this if you are live now, and if you are watching this later, welcome. Tonight we're going to talk about something really important, right? It's the consequences of our actions as value-driven creatives. So that's I mentioned before that I wanted to title it. I want to talk about consequences of our actions. That's like the theme for what I want to talk about tonight. But I realized that titling it that consequence of our actions sounded very scary, so to speak. So I made it cause, effects, and everything in between, because I'm going to be talking about the law of cause and effect. So everything starts with a cause. Everything starts with a decision. Everything starts with a moment of inspiration or a moment of compromise, right? And the truth is that cause is often very quiet. Cause is often very quiet. Sometimes it's in the conversations that you have with people physically. Sometimes it's the conversations that you have on social media. Sometimes it's the DMs that you respond to. Other times it's the projects that you take on, right? And other times it could be something as simple as the audio on your reels. It could be something as simple as your caption. It could be something as simple as a post that you liked or you engaged with on Threads, something very subtle, right? It could even be the platforms that you lend your voice to, that you lend your credibility to. Okay, so Proverbs 4:26, give careful thoughts to the paths of your feet and be steadfast in all your ways. It's actually talking about being intentional about everything that you do. There's a okay, let me not jump ahead of myself. Now I'm going to state the law of cause and effect. The law of cause and effect is a universal law that I can't remember who discovered it. Maybe it was John Maxwell. No, I don't think it was John Maxwell. I read it in a book years ago, and they mentioned the name of the person that discovered it. But anyway, the law of cause and effect states that for every action that's a cause, there is a reaction that is an effect. So for every action, which is the cause, there is a corresponding reaction. That's how it was said. For every action, which is the cause, there is a corresponding reaction. So there's a corresponding reaction for every action. Please, if you can hear me clearly, can you signify? Just put something on the comment. I don't want to find out that I'm not clear or maybe it's frozen or something. Please, if you are here, just put it on the comment. Let me know that you are still here and that you can hear me properly. So every action has a corresponding reaction, and this simply means that nothing happens by chance. Nothing happens by chance. Nothing just happens. If you stub your toe against your bed frame, there's a reason it happened. If you got a call and somebody was yelling at you on the phone, there's a reason it happened. Things don't just happen. And the faster you realize that and you start to live by that principle, the easier life will begin to become for you. And this is not a motivational chat. It is a heart-to-heart about. I'm trying to open up other Bible verses. Pardon me. This isn't just a. I'm not here to discover. I'm not here to talk about. I'm not here to give you motivational tales. I'm not here to spur you on. I'm here to just tell you something that is existing already, right? So, as creatives, we are supposed to be led by integrity, because don't forget I said that we shape culture. So if culture shapers leave their lives to chance, there's going to be a huge problem. There's going to be a problem. That's why I always say that you must have core values that lead you. You must have core values, things that dictate what you do. Okay, so let me be taking them one after the other. I sectioned it into 4 or 5 parts that I'll be talking about, so that I won't spend too much time and I won't rant. So the first one is the power of choice. Now, every decision that we make today adds a sentence, a paragraph, or even a whole chapter to the story of our lives. Every decision you make today adds a whole chapter to the story of your life. And whether you like it or not, our actions, our decisions, our thoughts are writing something for us. If you compromise on something today, there's going to be an effect down the line. A few years, if the effect doesn't come now, it comes a few years down the line. So let me tell you this. What happened on Sunday in church? We were watching a movie. We watched a movie by the Winlows. I don't know what the title of the movie is, but something about Christian movies that the Winlows do. And there was somebody who did something very wrong, but the person ran away and escaped, and the movie ended. So it was time for question and answers, and one of the members was saying that and one of the members was saying that she's not happy that nothing bad happened to the person that did the stuff. But what our pastor now said something. He said that, well, first of all, it's a movie and they can't put everything in one movie, and we need to understand that consequences don't show up almost immediately all the time. In fact, most of the time they don't show up almost immediately. It takes years, it takes months, years, a long time for them to show up. So what you've done today that you have compromised on, a compromise that you have made today, decision that you have made today, is going to show up. If it doesn't show up tomorrow, it will show up in the next 10 years. If it doesn't show up in your life, it will show up in the life of somebody else that is directly related to you. So how are you being intentional about how you live your life? How are you being deliberate about the decisions that you make? Now, the Bible says that do not be deceived. God is not mocked. Everything that a man sows, he will reap. So anything that you sow, you will reap. And why the Bible tells us that you reap when you reap when you sow. The Bible didn't tell us that you will reap what you sow. No, isn't what you no. Wait, I'm confusing myself. I think the Bible didn't say that you will reap where you sow. Yes, it said you will reap what you sow. So if you do something today, it might not show up in your life down later. It might show up in another person's life. It might show up in a project. It might show up in somebody's decision that now affects you. So you need to be careful about what you sow. Now, talking about what you sow, it's not just about, so I feel that verse of the Bible is not just talking about righteousness, godliness, all those things. It's about the seeds that we plant with our time, our talent, and our platforms. The things that we share, the things that, like I said before, the things that we engage with, the audio that we use on our reels, and things like that. Let me skip to number 2. So why does value-driven creativity matters? Remember that I said that I realized that as content creators, we need to be driven by values. So as creators, creatives, we don't just sing, we don't just act, we don't just draw, we don't just design, we don't just perform, we shape culture. Every single thing that we do shapes culture. And if we are not intentional about how we are shaping the culture, if we are not intentional about the things that we are creating, we will end up creating things that are trendy but toxic. They will be trending, they will trend, we can create viral content, we can go viral, we can do all of these things, and we create trends, but it's going to be toxic. We can also create a loud noise, paparazzi and all of that, but it's going to be empty if we are not driven by values, if we are driven by ephemeral things, if we are driven by things that will not last long. It's going to happen. Sorry, I think my screen is frozen. Okay. So when we operate with values, when we are value driven, we don't just create things because every other person is creating it. We do things that are in alignment with the assignment God has sent us to do. Whether you are a Christian or not, your life is writing a story. Your life is painting a picture. You are doing something that's creating a ripple effect for another person. The earlier you align it with the purpose of God, the better it is for you and for people who come down the line, right? So we don't just make noise, we create impact. That's what we're supposed to aim at. We're supposed to aim at creating impact and not just making noise. So now let's talk about the next generation. So I'm done with the numbers and all of that. Let's talk about legacy and the next generation. And I'm going to be releasing the podcast soon, and I've titled it Legacy and the Next Generation. I'll be going deep down into this part that I want to talk about, because we are limited on the live. So our lives, right, are not just lived. We're not living our lives just for us. There is a younger person watching. I came across a post on LinkedIn where a lady was trying to advise the Gen Zs. She was talking about, she first of all commended them for their grit, the passion, and everything they bring into what they do. But she now mentioned that sometimes you need to understand the place of respect. Sometimes you need to understand the place of necessary pressure. Sometimes you need to understand the place of genuine feedback. Not every time you are Gen Z, like, I can't explain how Gen Zs do it, but you always want to fight back at something. If you don't understand something, you're complaining about your mental health, you're complaining about you don't want to, you know the way Gen Zs behave, right? That was what the lady was saying. And then one of my pastors commented on the post, and she said that, I really can't remember what she said. I can't remember how she said it, but what she said was, she doesn't think it's their fault that they're acting this way. It could be because all these things have accumulated in them as a result of the things they have seen their parents experience, right? The things that they've seen. So that's what she was trying to say. And I also made a comment, and I also realized how true that was, because I mean, a Gen Z would say that I don't want to take unnecessary pressure, because they have seen how their parents who spent years, energy, and gave all their life to a job got treated at the end of the day. They have seen how society has defined the life of an elder sibling. They have seen how, government has messed things up. They have seen how parents have acted. They have seen how limitations have been placed on people because of certain things. And now they are simply responding to that. They're not responding, they're simply reacting to that. So if a young person comes and says, I can't take all this pressure, they have probably seen somebody older who has been boxed down by pressure, whose life is actually not the way it's supposed to be, because they didn't speak up at the right time. So that's why I always say that everything we do has a consequence. Everything we do has a consequence. For every reaction, there's an action, right? So for everything a Gen Z says, something has caused it. So the quicker we understand that, the easier it will be. So who are you influencing with the way you act, with the way you speak, with the things that you do? Who are you influencing? What are the things that you are saying that is affecting people? What are the things that you are saying that is people, this younger generation? Okay, an intern in your office is quietly understudying you. Your employee you have a business, you have an employee who also plans to start a business. They are looking at you, seeing the way you react. You are in a team, you are the leader of a team. Someone on your team is taking cues from you, whether consciously or subconsciously. They're taking cues from you, and they are looking at how you act, and they will probably do the same thing, right? So the next generation of creatives are taking cues from you and I. They are looking at the things that we are doing. We millennials are looking at the things that boomers are doing, Gen X's are doing. What are we doing that we know that can affect the coming generation? What is the cost that we are, manifesting that can have a corresponding reaction that will not turn out right at the end of the day? What story are you actually telling? Right? And, so I would say, okay, I don't think I want to go into this. But there's this, okay, let me just say, there was one Big Brother Naija that I mistakenly watched one day, because I don't watch it, but I think it was showing on TV while I was at home. So I was watching it, and there's a lady that had a daughter that was in the house, and she was doing some questionable things in the house with another man. By the time bloggers posted, of course, bloggers posted it, and the comments that were on that, people were hailing her, and they were saying, "Go girl, you rock! Grab him by the balls!" Like, what the heck? Who says that? On So I now made a comment, and this was years ago, and I said, I don't think this is the right thing that she's supposed to be doing. She has a teenage daughter at home. But of course, somebody came for me. And the person said, "Oh, why am I hating?" I'm like, I'm not hating. This is simple thing. You have a teenage daughter at home, you are grabbing a guy by the balls. It's not proper. It's not right. Of course, they came for me, so that's it. So what example are you setting with your actions? Now, who are you collaborating with your content? Who are you competing with? What compromises are you making? What's your attitude towards money? What's your attitude towards excellence? All these things really matter. It's important that you're able to answer that question. The Bible says that a good man leaves inheritance for his children's children. What inheritance are you leaving for your children? And because, mind you, it's not just money that's the inheritance. It is ideals, ideas, mindsets, principles, rules, right? This is where tradition comes in, culture comes in. You are shaping culture with your attitude. When you leave, what would people say about you? What would the people who have come after you do? We're almost done. 2 minutes more. Now, let's be creatives, and let's work in excellence. Let's live intentionally, right? Let us prioritize excellence over perfection. We can't be perfect. We don't need to be perfect. We don't need to pretend, right? Just because you want to leave a good legacy, or you want to influence somebody for good, doesn't mean you should now pretend as if things are rosy, things are great. No, it is important that you are authentic, and you hold on to your integrity even if nobody's watching. It's important, right? When fear wants you to settle, choose faith. You are influencing somebody. It's as simple as that. So, okay, let me read my closing here. I say you're not just a creative, you're a steward. You are a vessel. You are a voice. Let's make choices that everyone can stand behind. It's really important that we make choices that everyone can stand behind. And let's not forget that the story that we are telling is not just about us. It's bigger than us. It is way bigger than us, and it will transcend generation, right? So that's all that I have to say, really, because there's no need overflogging the issue. If you understand, there's a Yoruba adage that will say that says that a child who knows his offense will not kneel for long. So if you know your offense, you will not kneel for long. If you know your crime, if you know the thing that you have done wrong, and you'll be able to work on it, and you create a ripple effect that would influence the next generation for good. So next time when you are about to jump on an offer that you know is questionable, but you know that it will serve you in the short term, think about the people that is going to affect. Don't forget the law of cause and effect. For every action, there is a corresponding reaction. For every cause, there is a corresponding effect. Don't forget the people that it will affect. If you are an African, you'll be familiar with the issue of generational curse, foundational curse, patterns, and all of that. My pastor would say that God forbid that it becomes a reason why his generations will be battling altars and fighting altars and battling evil and doing deliverance, that it was to be a generational blessing. So that's what we should think about. And while I am not only talking about your generations, I'm also talking about the people that you are influencing now, in the now. The intern in your workplace, your indirect mentee or direct mentee, your employee, somebody in your church, somebody on the streets that is watching you. And when I say these things, people be like, A few people will say, nobody should watch me, I want to live my life. Please, the life you are living right now that you think is so interesting, somebody influenced you to live that life. If the person had influenced you well, you'll be living a better life, right? But you're not living a better life, obviously, because you're arguing. Right, so let's always understand that. I pray that God will give us the grace to do what is required of us, shape culture that is pleasant and that will bless the coming generation. So that is all I have to say on this topic. You can follow me right now on Instagram after this call if you are not following me already. I have a YouTube channel. It's called Fisayo Patrick. You can subscribe to it. And then my podcast is Realities of a Nigerian Creative. Realities of a Nigerian Creative on Spotify. You can check it out, follow me, and listen. Till I see you next time. Bye.